3.9 Design Site and Facility Security Controls. Welcome to this module on designing site and facility security controls. Physical security is a critical component of an organization's overall security posture. It protects personnel, data, and assets from unauthorized access, theft, and environmental hazards. In this lesson, we will explore various security controls for site and facility protection, including secure wiring closets, data centers, media storage, and environmental controls. Let's get started. Site and facility security controls are measures designed to prevent unauthorized access, protect critical infrastructure, and mitigate environmental threats. Organizations implement security controls for these major reasons: prevent unauthorized access, restrict access to sensitive areas, protect critical infrastructure, secure data centers, storage facilities, and workspaces, mitigate environmental risks, reduce threats from fire, power failures, and natural disasters. Now, let's look at an example. A financial company secures its data center with biometric access control, motion detection alarms, and fire suppression systems. These measures ensure that only authorized personnel can enter while preventing fire damage. Here's how to design effective security controls for a facility. Implement multi-layered access controls, including keycards and biometrics. Use video surveillance and alarm systems for real-time monitoring. Apply climate and fire control systems to protect infrastructure. Wiring closets and distribution facilities house critical network infrastructure, making them prime targets for unauthorized access. Restrict access. Use locked cabinets and limited access permissions. Monitor for unauthorized entry. Install motion sensors and video surveillance. Protect against environmental hazards. Ensure adequate ventilation to prevent overheating. Here's an example. A university installs keycard access and video surveillance in its wiring closets to prevent unauthorized tampering with network equipment. Here's how to secure wiring closets effectively. Restrict physical access to network infrastructure. Implement fire-resistant materials to protect wiring and equipment. Regularly audit and inspect access logs to detect unauthorized entry. Server rooms and data centers contain mission-critical IT infrastructure, making them a high-priority security concern. Access control systems use biometric authentication and keycard access. Surveillance and monitoring install 24/7 CCTV and motion sensors. Fire and environmental protection deploy gas-based fire suppression systems, FM200 CO2. Backup power and redundancy implement unavailable power supplies, UPS, and generators. Here's an example. A cloud service provider secures its data center with multi-factor authentication, redundant power supplies, and advanced fire suppression systems to maintain uptime and security. Here's how to secure server rooms and data centers effectively. Limit access to authorized personnel only. Implement geo-redundancy by maintaining backup data centers in separate locations. Conduct regular disaster recovery drills to test resilience. Media storage facilities house sensitive data backups, making them a potential target for theft and tampering. Secure storage containers use fireproof and tamper-resistant safes. Access logs and audit trails. Maintain records of media access and movement. Off-site backup storage. Store copies of critical backups in off-site vaults. Here's an example. A healthcare provider stores patient backup records in a secure climate-controlled off-site facility to comply with HIPAA regulations. Here's how to secure media storage effectively. Encrypt backup data to prevent unauthorized access. Use tamper-evident packaging for transporting backup media. Regularly test data recovery from stored backups. Certain work areas, such as forensic labs and classified government facilities, require strict security controls. Access restrictions use biometric scans and multi-factor authentication. Surveillance and logging monitor all activity with cameras and access logs. Secure storage for evidence. Use tamper-proof containers for forensic evidence. Here's an example. a law enforcement agency secures forensic evidence rooms with tamper-proof storage, 24/7 surveillance, and strict chain of custody policies to maintain evidence integrity. Here's how to secure restricted work areas and evidence storage. Enforce chain of custody protocols for sensitive materials. Use access control lists to restrict entry to authorized personnel. Secure logs and audit trails for legal and regulatory compliance. Environmental security controls protect facilities from natural and man-made disasters. Fire prevention and suppression. Fire can destroy critical infrastructure, making fire suppression a top priority. Mitigation strategies: install FM200 gas fire suppression systems, smoke detectors, and fire-resistant materials. Power redundancy and backup. A power failure can disrupt operations and damage equipment. Mitigation strategies: use UPS systems, backup generators, and redundant power grids. HVAC and climate control. Temperature and humidity control prevent hardware damage and overheating. Mitigation strategies: implement redundant cooling systems and environmental sensors. Here's an example. A financial institution installs redundant power supplies and gas-based fire suppression systems in its data center to maintain continuous operations. Here's how to design effective environmental security controls. Install fireproof doors and automatic fire suppression systems. Maintain power redundancy with generators and UPS backups. Use climate-controlled environments for IT infrastructure. Now, let's summarize what we've learned about designing site and facility security controls. Wiring closets, server rooms, and media storage facilities require strict physical security. Restricted work areas and evidence storage must have multi-factor authentication and surveillance. Environmental security controls protect against fire, power failures, and climate threats. Redundant power and fire suppression systems ensure business continuity. By implementing these security controls, organizations can protect their facilities, data, and personnel from physical and environmental threats. This concludes our module on site and facility security controls. Up next, managing the information system lifecycle. Stay secure.